YouTube. I was looking through my girl's phone for a second at some old stuff, and I was looking at my son's development. My son finna be two soon. Um, Even though I've been struggling with him a little bit lately with him hearing the word no, um, I gotta remember to tell myself to remember the best is yet to come and to keep smiling. But that's not what this video is about. I think I figured out when I can't go to sleep at night, at least for now. And I'm going to increase the frequency in which I make videos because the NBA is back. I'm going to start doing some video commentations on what I think of the games or the certain players and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of players that I do like in the NBA. And I ain't a bandwagon fan. Most people think I am. No, I'm a Warriors fan. Been one since 2009. I was in 4th grade at the time. That's the same year Steph Curry came. I was a fan of the We Believe Warriors with Baron Davis and them during that time period, because that's when I first started getting into basketball, because I was playing basketball games on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360 a lot at that time before Steph came in the league, and then he got me more hooked onto it. So I've been a fan for close to double-digit years now of the Warriors, and Steph Curry is my favorite player at the point guard spot. I got a favorite player at each position, and 9 times out of 10, most of the players that I like, they can play defense at least decently or great. So there's a lot of players that I might make videos about in certain topics about their potential and how I feel they can improve and what I don't like about them, stuff like that, maybe. But this Black Lives Matter thing, and I really wish I'd see more YouTubers like the ones I've named already on this channel, like Agent and them, the 2K community YouTubers, and some of the other people I watch, or that my girl watches. Make more videos about this. I was talking to my mom 2 days ago about this, and she gave me the idea to make a video about this, but she told me I should do my research. I don't know if this topic will be a series or not, but we'll go at it a step at a time. So I'll consider this step 1 of the topic. With this Black Lives Matter thing, for one, I've never dealt with racism before ever in my life. I honestly haven't. I've lived in Florida, Clarksville, Texas, Georgia now. Moved a lot. I moved from, let me see, Liberty, Winston Park, Cypress, Florinata. I moved from 4 different schools in elementary school in Florida when I was living out there. And I moved from, let me see, that's Cunningham, Coconut Creek, Argeland, Palm 5 different times to apartment complexes and stuff in Florida too. So that's about 6, 7, 8 times I moved in Florida. Never encountered racism as a child, not once. Moved to Clarksville. Didn't encounter it out there. Moved to Texas. Texas is where I found out what the word nigga meant, because that's the first time I heard the word out there. So. Came out here. I heard where I stay at, there's a certain part of the area where I stay at where it's highly racist, but like I said, never encountered it. And I'll be seeing videos of, like, I saw this video of a woman that a dude named Get You an AK on Instagram. He posts videos about, reaction videos basically to certain stuff. He posted this video about a woman who was getting called a nigger by a white woman in a gas station, and the black woman wasn't having it. So she beat the woman up after she warned her, do not call me that. There was a lot of cussing it too, but she gave the woman a warning, tested it, got beat down. Didn't regret it. Because of what I've said already, I truly believe that actions do speak louder than words. Sticks and stones, stuff like that. Words can hurt your feelings because the tongue is a weapon. It talks about it in the Bible. But I do believe we're competent enough as people to take stuff in and ignore it very frequently if we train our minds enough. Like, my mom asked me how would I respond to racism should it hit me? And I told her I've had some histories of certain people saying certain stuff to me, and I didn't like it, and I responded lashfully at them. Like, I don't have any problem with talking about this because at this point, y'all know it's not the truth. Y'all have seen this channel. Y'all have seen since I came to meet my girl 4 years ago now. My brother called me a little while ago, my second oldest brother, Chester the Molester, because my girl is 3 years younger than me. I'm 21, she's 18. I met her when I was 16 and she was 13. When we were both still minors, I was talking to her, just talking to her. I was still dating other girls at the time when I was staying in Texas, but she was just a friend at the time. And then obviously I know I ended up asking her out. I think when I was in 11th, 12th grade, between that time span, and here we are. But my brother not knowing the full facts of the story, and him thinking, like I told y'all about my dad already. My dad had a stroke, all that, mentioned that to y'all. My second oldest brother thought it was my fault my dad had that stroke, but he didn't understand that my dad had the stroke because it's going to tie into the video of Black Lives Matter stuff. There's pieces to it. My dad, from what I can remember, since I was born, hard worker. Worked for the Bureau at one point, got kicked out because he wouldn't, and he told me about this lesson early on. When a job wants to make you change into something you're not, you stand your ground or you change, one of the two. My dad, working for the Bureau, before I was even a thought, chose to stand his ground on what he believed in, his morals. And he got fired from the job. It was a great paying job, but the thing, he didn't tell me specifically what he got fired for, but he said they was asking me to do something I wasn't going to do, and they didn't like me saying that. So he ended up getting fired, and he went to corrections, like Wackenhut. Some of y'all know what that is. Correctional facility. And he stuck with it. My dad has double-digit years of correctional officer experience and police officer experience under his belt, along with my mom, but he's the one known for it more than her. And leading up to when he had the stroke, my dad told me, I'll never forget it, because he had his stroke on March 6, 2013. 2 weeks before he had the stroke, he told me, I'm doing something for your mom, because their anniversary is, I think it's June 24th, if I'm not mistaken. He was trying to do something for my mom, and something special this time, because they do something almost every year for their anniversary. You know, as the husband, you'd think the husbands would want to treat their wives something special. But I didn't know what it was. He just told me, I'm doing something special. At the time, I was 14 or 15. I was like, Dad, but why? Like, the bills are paid. Well, he was working overtime. And in a correctional facility type of job, that overtime can add up very quickly. And mind you, my father was in his 50s. If I ever decide to put my father on this channel, or in a video, my dad used to be very, very built for a 50-year-old, and he wasn't semi-athletic. If you think of like what Black Panther would be, T'Challa's dad, I could say my dad was a semi-version of him, because up till the time he had his stroke, and mind you, when I was 14 and 15, I was at my peak as a teenager athletically. So I was cooking everybody. At the church I went to, there was nobody more athletic than me. I was killing everybody in every sport. My best friend, my white best friend, was the only one that could keep up with me in track. But every other sport, I was killing everybody. And at that time, my dad beat me in a race. To this day, that's the only person that's ever beaten me in a race before at my athletic peak as a teenager. But up until that point, he was that guy. I felt like he was invincible. There was nothing he couldn't do. So me asking him why are you working all this overtime? The bills are paid, car notes, all that stuff like that I had known about. It was like, when you get older, you're gonna understand it, because your mom does so much for me and so much for this family. I like to remind her how important she is every now and then. Strong words. Little did I know it was gonna happen. So when he had the stroke, the night he went out, with stroke patients, y'all know. Some of y'all might know. My dad took medication because he had a history of having strokes and seizures. He had been having those since I was in second grade, from what I can remember, and he's still prone to them. But my mom pays more attention to him now, and he pays more attention to himself. But at the time, the night he was leaving, my dad was dropping his medication pills all over the floor. Me and my mom looking like, okay, what? Like, I didn't know what was wrong because it was weird to me. My mom told my dad, "Sub, you shouldn't go to work tonight." My dad was like, "I gotta do it. I'll be all right." Steady telling him. Try to fix his food. He dropping spaghetti on the floor, food all over the floor. Mom had to clean it up. My dad go outside the house. We had a little deadbolt to our house. Slammed, tried to close the door on the deadbolt, not pushing the deadbolt out. Okay. Got my mom to finally say, "Shad, go out there. Watch him. Make sure you get in his car safely." I go downstairs with my dad. My dad opened the car door up, put his stuff in, dropped some stuff in there, like he was already doing. Get in the car, closes the door on the seatbelt. I look at him. I tell my dad, "Daddy, I don't think you should go to work either. You acting real funny right now, and I don't know what it is." He told me, "Son, don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. I'll be all right. Just see me tomorrow." Because I was going to the Christian school in my church at the time. So when I was at school, right when I was going to school, usually around 7, because he worked from like, my dad would go to work at like 8 something at night to like 7 something in the morning. So by the time I'm going to school, he's getting off of work. Right around the time, just about getting home. Tells me, "I'll be all right, son. Don't worry about it." Okay. That night, that's one of the things I regret the most about. One of the things that, no, not regret. It bothers me a lot because I watched my dad drive away in his car, knowing something was up with him, and I didn't stop him. So I go to school the next day. Next thing you know, my principal walking up to me. I think I was in my 5th or 6th period. Pulls me over to the side. I'm like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" Whispers in my ear. "Sorry to tell you, your dad got into a car wreck." I didn't know how bad the wreck was. So, and at the time, I'm not an emotional type of person. Like, to get me to cry, it is extremely, extremely hard. If I can actually cry at something somebody did, 9 times out of 10, it was close to the heart. Mainly, probably that. I wasn't finna cry around nobody. Not my teachers, not my classmates, none of that. Because I had that impression at the time on myself. I'm a tough guy mentally. Still carried on to this day. So I get home. It took about a good till the end of the week before I could go see my dad. Once I saw what the wreckage had done, that's when I started crying. I was with my oldest brother and my mom at the time. I go into the hospital in Nashville. My dad has a tube stuck in his throat, bandages around his throat where he's breathing through a tube, and all the equipment attached to him, keeping him breathing. Then I hear the doctors, before I got up there, my mom told me the doctor said they couldn't figure out where he was bleeding at, because when he got into his wreck, he had a stroke while he was driving. My dad had his stroke driving 45 miles an hour. I don't know who hit him, but the car he was in was totaled. The doctors had to come get him in a helicopter and fly him to the hospital. They couldn't figure out where he was bleeding at because he was hemorrhaging. To this day, I have the utmost of gratitude for the doctor that found out where he was bleeding at, because if he didn't find it, he would have died that day. And through that, they found it, cut him open, put him in all the equipment they needed to keep him breathing. Me seeing my dad breathing through a tube, he was unconscious too. My mom and me clarify that moment in my family as my dad's battle of the mind, because when he was unconscious, That was the devil trying to fight him for his mind, because before he had the stroke, I talk about him a lot in some of my videos, if not all of them. My dad is very important to me. I ain't gonna say he's more important than my mom, but I look just like him, and his tendencies on how he raised me on his side rubbed off on me very strongly. He is a preacher. I'm a preacher's boy. I'm not perfect though. I could be far from the example of a modern day preacher's boy. I got a mouth on me. My dad had a mouth before he became a Christian, but he doesn't know about that. I told my mom you should tell him about that, because with these videos, my parents will watch these videos at some point. I ain't got no secrets to hide from them. I do got a mouth and I'm acknowledge it. But my dad, before he had a stroke, had one of the strongest reputations you'd ever know about from a man at his age. Go to work. Very serious demeanor. He could joke with you every now and then. People at his job, all his correctional jobs, called him the preacher. My dad could quote scripture off the back of his mind, out the palm of his hand, from the time I can remember, when I was competent enough to understand when he was telling me a lesson. He's been able to quote scripture since I was 5 to 6 years old. There's no scripture he doesn't know about. You ask him about something for advice, biblically he's gonna give you the advice and the scriptures to go with it. That's how grinded that knowledge in his head was. And on top of that, it spread out. Before he had at his peak, I was proud. I used to hear so many good stories about my dad. Obviously, parents are gonna argue. My mom and dad did argue a lot at certain times. What couple doesn't? No couple is perfect, but I heard a lot of good. I heard similar things about my mom, but my dad, that testimony thing I told you about in the Fredo video, my dad is the perfect example of where a good testimony, great testimony, can open a lot of doors for you. Him being the positive, serious, no BS type of person, preacher that he was. Because when he had a job to do, took his job seriously. He's had a lot of jobs. But from him just moving, he hasn't been fired from a lot of jobs. He's had more jobs from us moving alone, but he's always been promoted at those jobs. And at this last one, when he was working in corrections, he was very close to becoming a supervisor. Good reason. All that experience that added up. His testimony spoke for him loud and clear. There's nobody that could tell me a bad thing about my dad. That's the thing, and that's the thing that made me proud about him. But when he had his stroke and he was in the hospital and my siblings and me were all there, my brother came to the hospital thinking it was my fault. He tried to fight me. I was 14, 15 years old. Mind you, my brother was like either in his late 20s or early 30s. My oldest brother stood in front of him and said, "That's not finna happen. Shad didn't have nothing to do with this." Because I didn't. I wasn't the reason my dad was working overtime, and my brother didn't know why he was doing it or to what led him to having the stroke. Because nobody told him. We didn't have to tell him. He wasn't living with us. I'm the only one that knew because my dad told me. And he told me not to tell my mom. I didn't talk to my second oldest brother at the time like that anyway, because our relationship is very rocky from that that incident alone. So I didn't tell him nothing. Nobody did. And once all that happened from that day on, nothing but grudge, attitude, all that. He's trying to get his life together. Yes. And my parents have told me, let him come to you. And that's how you'll know when y'all are ready to talk, squash this over. Because I'm not mad, but the day he told me, he called me Chester the molester because we were trying to do something for my sister. We was trying to plan something for her birthday, her 30th birthday. And she was asking for certain information, and my brother said something about being a clown. And I said, "Bro, stop, just give her your information and stop acting stupid." And then he used the Chester molester card. At the time, I got pissed about that because my brain was interpreting it as, you don't even know what's going on in my life. You don't know nothing about me like you used to. None of that. You don't know my girl. You don't even know, nor do you even care about my son. Because he's got kids, but I haven't seen his kids in since 2011, when my dad was at his highest peak. So his son probably don't even know who I am anymore, basically. But I told his wife, tell my brother he's got a nephew. My brother told me at one point, I don't care about nothing going on in your life. Don't include me. So from that incident, with how I say I reacted immaturely to that, because my mental strength is a very strong thing about me. I like to consider it as one. So with each experience, I like to adapt to the situation so it never happens again. I try to. So with the racism thing, because it ties into it, that's where I say I've never encountered racism before. I've seen it, but never encountered it. Should I encounter it, I'm never going to be the type to smack somebody just because they call me a nigger. If anything, I'll laugh at them. A lot of people cannot do that. And I know it's hard because nigger means a lot of things. Ignorance, all that type of stuff. But gotta learn to just laugh at it, because at some point, that's gonna change. Things will change. You gotta keep looking past, looking forward into the future. I will always believe in trying to work things out in a peaceful manner. Now, if you put hands on someone after they try working out something in a peaceful manner, you deserve everything coming to you if they decide to retaliate you back. That's how I look at it, because the nice didn't work. So, okay, I guess you got to get them hands then after that. But all this, I've heard a lot about Black Lives Matter. What is it? Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter stuff. To the people that be talking about all lives matter, because I'm not on either side. The thing that I look at with all of this, because it's foolishness to me, is the simple fact that when God made the world and the people of the world, we all came from a man and a woman. Nobody's life is more important than anybody else's. Nobody's, because let's look at everything. We all have skin. It might be a different color, but guess what? We all bleed the same. Our blood ain't different. We not aliens. There's nobody that has a different blood color from another. None. We got the same bones. Humans do. Same bones. Breathe the same. Eat the same. Unless you have some sort of disability, but even still, you're eating. Move the same. All that. We are too similar for us in the world to be talking about Black Lives Matter this and All Lives Matter that. I understand George Floyd, everything that happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all these people that keep getting killed and all these police brutality things that are going on, but we gotta be better as people. We cannot let that decide. We can't let that determine or force us into rash reactions that are going to make the tide of this whole thing worse than what it is already, because we all gotta band together and be positive about it. There is no positivity in somebody dying, and that's understandable, because I know George Floyd had a daughter. That daughter gotta grow up without her father, and when she gets older, it's gonna be tough, because while I do believe fathers are important more to their sons, daughters look at their dads, the ones that care, as what they want, or they take some traits from what their dad is, if they're smart. And they try to look at it in when they start trying to find their own husband, or if they do the right thing, they ask God, give me a husband, or something like that. So that's something she has to deal with, but he's not going to be here for it. Instead of the aggression, when the riots and stuff happen and all that breaking and entering stuff like that, being a collective mind and talking positively beats all the other negative stuff that everybody has done in the world towards this Black Lives Matter things and whatnot. You know how much damage you do to somebody in terms of these racist people that started all of this. You know how much damage you do to their egos if you laugh at them more and just play off what they're doing in general. Even the cops, because I told you I want to be a cop. I do not agree that what I'm seeing in the world is the right way to be a cop, though. It's understandable. So, for the black people out there that get in scuffles with cops and stuff, with the lesson we've learned already, if a cop accuses you of something, anything at all, they pull you over, something like that, just be cooperative, no matter what. It helps to have somebody record the situation, but for you, just continue to be cooperative. If they ask you for stuff, just give it to them. Anything they ask you about, just cooperate. Make the situation a whole lot easier than you bucking back at them and then you risk getting killed or something like that. If a cop said it, that you're getting pulled over for this and this, and I'm gonna have to give you a ticket or something like that, take the ticket. Go to their supervisor. If the ticket is not accurate or something like that, get the proof about it. Take it to their supervisor. Tell the supervisor this isn't right. Go from there. But when the altercation happens or something like that, cooperate peacefully to minimize your problems. That's the best thing I can tell all the black people in the world, especially the ones that don't like cops. Because I don't know if I've told y'all already. I have to try to fix my mindset on how I view cops, because up until all this happened, I didn't like cops. And I think I told y'all, it was partially because when we lived on the military post we lived at, the 44-year-old man I told you about, and his daughter, his 16 or 17-year-old daughter, constantly harassing me for no reason, along with a few other children for no reason. Teenagers about to be high schoolers, basically young adults, for no reason. Whether it come from, oh, Shad had your name in his mouth, something like that, petty little stuff, or the daughter of the man lying to the father to tell him he's trying to hit on me. Never. I'm loyal to the core. There's not a cheating bone in my body. Never will be. Y'all could quote me on that. But because the man didn't believe anything I said and just believed his daughter, who, mind y'all, is a part of this new generation of fathers of children who don't respect their parents. They just talk crazy to them. They run the house instead of the parent running the house. Because, an example of this with this specific girl, one of the dudes I was talking to at one point, who used to be one of my buddies, went into their house at one point and witnessed the daughter. The mother and the father told the daughter to do the dishes. The daughter said, I ain't doing no damn dishes. Off the rip. That's just one incident. Another incident, she smacked a boy in the face for not giving, a 12-year-old boy, for not giving her a basketball. And she didn't even ask for it. She just tried to take it and the boy said no. She smacked him for it. All this crazy stuff for no reason. Crazy generation. And then when the cops got involved with these specific people, with me being involved with it, after I got punched in the jaw, after the cops banned me from the court I got hit at, off of a stupid reason, off of these people, just because I got hit, and because I had made several police reports about this man and his daughter, and the cops still didn't do nothing on the post I was living on. They waited until, and I warned them, if y'all don't do something about this man now, it's going to grow into something bigger later, and it's going to be too late. They waited till it was too late. I got hit. Next thing you know, banned off post. And then I got yelled at by a white cop for getting angry because they didn't do their job properly. I had every reason to hate a cop in the past. I had to fluctuate my feelings now because that's not how I need to be if I want to be a cop. I have to stay positive because I don't want my son to grow up hating me or any of my children. I don't want him to look at cops weird or hate them. I want him to be able to look at a cop and just say, what that cop is doing is wrong, but I can look at my dad and know what he's doing is right. That's how y'all got to start looking at this racism thing with the Black Lives Matters and All Lives Matter things go. To a degree, both sides matter. People matter. That's what y'all need to be saying. People matter. It don't matter what color you are because we all bleed the same. Somebody tell somebody Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter again. Just tell them people matter. It doesn't matter which side it is. And we need to stop debating about it because we ain't getting nowhere. We need to come together as a unit and fight these lingos out. Turn it into people matter in general. The world has to bond together more peacefully because how it's going right now, 2020 is a very shitty year. I don't know if a lot of y'all should know that. With the COVID out and all this stuff with Trump, we can do better. We need to band together, both sides, and try to fix the problems in the world by staying positive with each other. Because if we don't have the common sense to know that we got to do better for ourselves and for each other, who's gonna try to stop? Who gonna solve the problems for us if we don't know that? If we don't, who will? Basically, that's all I gotta say on it. Like I said, I'm gonna get my history down, figure out more to say on this topic once I get the more historical facts. But this is just the straightforward version from me about this because I've been hearing about this so long, and it annoys me to keep hearing about it because it's the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing. Fights, altercations. That gets boring. I don't like seeing stuff like that. I don't watch World Star because of stuff like that. That's stupid to me. Idiotic. This ain't no different. But that's all I gotta tell y'all. I'm gonna try to do these videos more frequently. I'm trying to expand my variety and topics. I'm supposed to go get my game fixed today. And then I'm going to try to, if y'all can give me some tips on how to test the share factory out on the PS4, because I know that helps edit videos, I'd be appreciated because I don't know what I'm doing with that. But I'm going to get my game fixed today and possibly start making videos on my system moving forward. But that's all I got to tell y'all. See y'all next time. Leave your comments down below. Opinions, everything. I'm listening. Topics about more videos. Everything. Tell me anything y'all want to know or that y'all want to see. I'll do it. Peace.